All right, and then, so we're back in line 38, looking at the B part of it. So it says he does not let their cattle decrease. And so that sends us to, well, let me reread 38a. He also blesses them, and they multiply greatly. And he does not let their cattle decrease. So remember, I was in the last segment that, Ishmael and Isaac, they're brothers, all right, but they still at war with each other even today. So Deuteronomy 7:14, but the promise was given to Isaac. The promise was given to Isaac. But the thing about it is that God did not leave Ishmael aside. He didn't. He said he was going to have 12 princes. Just like they have the 12 tribes of Israel that come from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that 12 tribes. Well, they're going to have 12 princes. God is a fair God. He really is. Deuteronomy 7:14. It says, you shall be blessed above all peoples. There shall not be a male or female barren among you or among your livestock. And so what it was saying about the cattle decreasing, all the livestock and everything is going to always be plentiful. And so they're not going to have any barren animals at all. Okay, moving into our second to last stanza, 39. When they are diminished and brought low through oppression, affliction, and sorrow, he pours contempt on princes and causes them to wander in the wilderness where there is no way. Yet he sets the poor on high, far from affliction, and makes their families like a flock. The righteous see it and rejoice, and all iniquity stops his mouth. Praise God. So let's elaborate starting at 39. When they are diminished and brought low, so they were small and brought low, through oppression, affliction, and sorrow. All right, and so that sends us to 2 Kings 10:32 about diminishing and brought low. 2 Kings 10:32 says, in those days the Lord began to cut off parts of Israel, and Hazael conquered them in all the territory of Israel, from the Jordan eastward, all the land of Gilead, Gad, Reuben, and Manasseh, from Aroer, which is by the river Arnon, including Gilead and Bashan. All right, and so that's just to corroborate, showing how God can diminish and bring low. Not only diminish and bring low, but he can do it with oppression, he can do it with affliction, and he can do it with sorrow. 40. He pours contempt on princes and causes them to wander in the wilderness where there is no way. So not only he does that, but he can pour contempt on princes. Prince is what? The son of a king. So he can pour contempt on them and cause them to wander in the wilderness where there is no way. 41. Yet he sets the poor on high. So even though he can pour contempt on the princes, they supposed to be up there status wise. They're exalted status wise. Okay, but look at what he can do. God said, yeah, he sets the poor on high. He'll set the poor on high, far from affliction. So he'll afflict the princes, but he won't afflict the poor. And it makes their families like a flock. So he can make instead of making their family afflicted or oppressed or in sorrow, he can make them like a flock. Plentiful. 42. The righteous see it and rejoice, and all iniquity stops his mouth. And so the righteous can see what God is doing, what's going on. And we can rejoice what God is doing. All right? But what happened? And all the iniquity, they just have to, stop their mouth. Why? They can't believe it. They can't believe it. And then 43, last stanza. Whoever is wise, one last stanza. Whoever is wise will observe these things, and they will understand the loving kindness of the Lord. Whoever is wise will observe these things. What things? All these things that we talked about. How God is in control of everything. He's in control of everything. The princes and the kings. He's in control of everything. And so whoever is wise will observe these things, and they will understand the loving kindness of the Lord. And what do we understand? What can we take from this? That even through the wilderness, even through the affliction, even through the sorrow, God can still bring us through. He can still bring us out. He can still bring us through. He can still bring us out. And then that sends us to Jeremiah 9:12. That says, who is a wise man who may understand this? And who is he to whom the mouth of the Lord has spoken, that he may declare it? Why does the land perish and burn up like a wilderness, so that no one can pass through? So who is the wise man who may understand this? And who is he to whom the mouth of the Lord has spoken, that he may declare it? Why does the land perish and burn up like a wilderness, so that no one can pass through? Wow. Because God can do it. And just like he can do it, he can undo it. Because he's God. Because he's God. And I just sing and I praise his holy and magnificent name, because he is God. And then 1 Samuel 2:8 says, he raises the poor from the dust and lifts the beggar from the ash heap, to set them among princes and make them inherit the throne of glory. Who can do that? Only God can do that. And so who wouldn't serve a God like that? That he can make smooth places crooked, and he can make crooked places smooth. He can make rough places smooth, and he can make crooked places straight, and straight places crooked. And he can make rough places smooth, and he can make smooth places rough. God can do that. Praise God. And so with all of that, even though we're afflicted in suffering and going through all of that, our soul is longing. And even through that longing, God satisfies the longing soul. What a beautiful psalm. What a beautiful psalm to start off with book 5. And we can praise God for that. So with that, guys, that's Psalm 107. Lord's willing, I'll see you in Psalm 108 next time. Until then, may God bless you and keep you, and may he has his face shine upon you. I love you, and I know that he loves you. Keep the faith and keep the focus.